Welcome, everyone, in this episode of Ayurveda Health and Wellness. Again, with Dr. Kanika Verma. I'm your host, Hitesh Anand. And today we are going to talk about a new form of diet, and that's Paleo Diet. Last episode, we talked about keto diet, and where Kanika told us how keto diet is something that is not exactly recommended by Ayurveda. Let's explore how does Paleo diet go about with Ayurveda. What does Ayurveda say about Paleo diet? So, Kanika, let me ask you first, what is Paleo diet for our listeners and viewers? What does it mean, and what one takes or do not take in Paleo diet?
Okay. So the word paleo means ancient or prehistoric. So you find Paleolithic age, prehistoric age, or Paleozoic creatures, prehistoric creatures. So paleo, basically, the word relates to ancient or prehistoric. So with paleo diet, we are talking about caveman diet. Paleo diet is something which is our natural diet, something which we will eat if I and you were living in a jungle, like a caveman.
Okay.
Then everything that we will eat will be paleo diet. And it is especially very important because paleo diet doesn't include agriculture produce, you see, because prehistoric people, they did not have any agricultural knowledge according to the modern science. So then there was no agriculture, they could not grow grains, there was no dairy because the cows and all these animals, goats and all, they were not domesticated by that time, when the cavemen lived. So they did not have any dairy, they did not have any grains. And so these are things that are excluded from the paleo diet. What comes in the paleo diet are fruits, nuts, roots, vegetables, anything that you can, and even, the raw meat. Because cavemen, they did not cook also. So they would eat something which is normally raw. There are many people follow different types of paleo diet. They can follow raw or cooked. Okay. And they can also be vegetarian paleo diet, vegetarian paleo followers and non-vegetarian paleo followers. So there are multiple forms of paleo diet, and so we cannot say that paleo diet is this one particular thing. It has many shades.
Okay.
Yeah. So these are the things that are included in paleo diet, and so we can say that yes, mushroom is included in paleo diet because that a caveman can go and find in the jungle. Meat, uncooked meat, is a part of paleo diet, and so on and so forth. So we can just imagine what all I would eat if I'm just a caveman. And that all those things come inside paleo diet. Fish come under paleo diet, because you can just go and catch them.
Right.
And so all these things, this is what is a paleo diet.
Okay, so that's interesting, and to know it's kind of prehistoric kind of food, and people do want to eat in modern times as well. So my next question would be naturally, why or how does Ayurveda? What does Ayurveda say about paleo diet? Does it go according to Ayurveda, or is it something that Ayurveda would not recommend, considering the fact that Ayurveda itself is a very old practice, which comes from thousands and thousands of year old practice? So is it something which kind of converge the paleo diet and Ayurvedic, recommendations? Does they converge at some point, or is it something that is two separate bits?
Yeah. So there are multiple factors. As I will again repeat that Ayurveda is such a broad science. It's a wisdom. Okay. So applicability or satmya, anything that creates balance inside the body is applicable. Anything that does not create balance inside the body is not applicable. So given this, I would say that there are different types of paleo diet. different ingredients that are included in paleo diet, and therefore some are good, some are not good, some are good for particular duration of time or particular health condition, whereas others might not be good for all health conditions. There are again ingredients which are good for all health conditions in all climate, all weather, all body types. So we can segregate or classify paleo diet in multiple, factors, in multiple shades, in multiple divisions. And let us look at these divisions. One of the food that paleo diet recommends is fruits. And fruits, definitely, they are amazing. Ayurveda recommends fruits. In fact, you see, when we talk about rishis, or the people, the sages who would retire to forest and live there. So these people, when they are in the forest, they will not disturb the natural balance by, cooking using a lot of firewood, and because they are in the process of renunciation. So they would not disturb the natural balance. And to do that, they will sustain themselves on majorly raw food, which consisted of fruits, roots, and vegetables. So it was said that kandamoola phal, that means tubers like jackfruit. Okay, tubers and fruits and roots like carrots, radish, and so on and so forth. So they would sustain themselves on these. So they were essentially undergoing a paleo diet.
Paleo diet, right?
Yeah. So long time back, people were actually doing it. During India, Hindus have a very, very elaborate system of intermittent fasting. Now I'm beginning to discover this as I follow it myself. The annual regime of upavas or fasting is so strict. Ashtami, like 8th day of the lunar moon, and then the 11th day of lunar moon, like Ekadashi. Then Purnima, Amavasya, Chaturthi, that is the 4th day. It is dedicated to the elephant god Ganesh. So you see, all these days were meant to be fasting, and when you're fasting, you're supposed to have this fruits, roots, and tubers. So basically, traditional Vedic people were also following the paleo diet intermittently. So I think paleo diet has a lot of, it's very old. All the religions have their place for this. And if we talk about other ingredients, like this is for fruits and roots and vegetables, preferably raw. Raw paleo diet is very good. But Ayurveda says that if you eat vegetables raw, then they are harmful. Unless and until you have a very strong digestion. Say, for example, there is a ancient text in Ayurveda. It is a very well-renowned and very established text called Ashtanga Hriday. Okay, and Ashtanga Hriday has a statement that hit the book, with the book, ashak book. That means eat what is beneficial, eat less. Even the beneficial food you eat less. And don't eat vegetables. So it says that because you know what, vegetables, according to Ayurveda, what they believe that vegetables, whether cooked or not cooked, they are very dry in nature. They are very dry. So when they go inside the body, they absorb moisture, they absorb oil, and they are an extra work for the digestive system.
Okay.
They are an extra work, especially the green leafy vegetables. And many of the Ayurveda physicians won't like to say all these things because the green leafy vegetables are the the health trend. You must have green leafy vegetables.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I was thinking at back of the mind while you were saying this. The green leafy vegetables are something that is kind of recommended by even by the medical science. If I'm not wrong, like in the doctors, they would say that you should have more green leafy vegetables. They are good for the digestion. They are fibrous, and I mean, that sort of goes against what you are saying, or is there anything that we're missing here?
Yeah, see, now it is the context that matters. Right now, what we are having is like fine finely ground grain, that is what we call maida in India, and a very fine flour, which forms lumps inside the intestine. For example, bread, white bread, or biscuits and cookies, and all these things are made up of that fine ground flour.
Yeah.
This fine ground flour is, according to Ayurveda, it's extremely heavy. You should not have it. It forms lumps inside the intestine. It gets stuck. It is very hard to digest because you need a lot of acid to penetrate inside that lump.
Right.
Yeah. So earlier people will not have all that much. Not that much of fine ground maida. They would have it rarely, once in a festival. All these things were made. But now we are having it every day. So back then, when these people were not having a very unhealthy life and very unhealthy lifestyle, they were not they did not suffer from constipation. They did not suffer from indigestion, acidity, all that much that people do now. So for these people, vegetables were a step up. Because they were already not suffering from all this, so they did not need vegetables to clear that constipation, to ensure that fibrous content and so on and so forth. So in that context, probably they did not need vegetables. Why we need vegetables? Because we have so much of fine flour inside our stomach. If you look at noodles, they don't get digested unless when we are chewing them. You'll find pieces inside the intestine. So basically the acid has not penetrated the noodles. They're just passing like this. Okay, and these things, they get stuck inside the intestine. They will not move. They will create constipation. For that, you need green leafy vegetables, because green leafy vegetables provide you with the fiber that helps to move these things. Yes?
Okay.
So the context today, I would say, okay, fine. If you're having a lot of heavy things, like you're having pizza, pasta, burgers, every day you're having them, have green leafy vegetables, because they are a step up from where you stand. If I stand here, the step up is here. If I stand with pizza, burger and pasta every day, the green leafy vegetables are a step up. But if you're having normal food, if you're having homemade food, nice, dal, whatever I call roti sabji, dal chawal in Indian tradition, then green leafy vegetables are not a step up. Fruits are a step up here, because fruits provide you with that same fiber, and they are moisturizing for the body. They don't create dryness. So the context is very important. And you see, the body type is another factor. Some people have a dry body. So if they have a lot of cabbage, I've seen people having a lot of cabbage, brinjal and all these, and then they suffer from bloating, constipation, because their already dry body cannot sustain more dryness. So,
okay.
In Ayurveda, when you cook vegetables, we put so much of spices, right? Why we put so many spices in vegetables? We don't put spices in roti or in when we make that flat bread or in rice or anything. We put spices only in vegetables to reduce that dryness, to increase the bioavailability. In Ayurveda, it is said in Charak Samhita that please do not eat green leafy vegetables without putting cumin, jeera and hing, asafoetida, because they will help to improve the bioavailability of whatever you are eating. It is not recommended, but still if you are eating it, put these things. So see, there is no blanket ban on anything. You eat vegetables, that's fine. But if you have a better choice, please, then the book says, Ashtanga Hridaya, that no wise person should eat vegetables. So right. You see, it's not banned. There's nothing that is banned. There's nothing like it's ruled out completely. There's a context to everything. And I would not say to a person who is eating pizza that don't eat vegetables, please eat vegetables, because you need them. But I would highly recommend fruits.
Right. So, I mean, if we look at the hierarchy, the fruits are at the top, and
Yeah,
of course, for anyone at any level below that, fruit, they can go for fruits. Even if you're eating pizza, you want to improve your diet, you can go for fruits. It'll be better to go with fruits than going
with
with the
fruits.
veggies,
Correct.
so to say,
Correct.
and. That's amazing, and actually, in Indian homes, we usually see how the food is cooked, and it is somehow, derived from Ayurveda since ages, and it still exists, and so it is kind of easier to relate. But it's if you talk about the food in other parts of the world, where predominantly in the modern world food is something that comes out of from the supermarket, from these takeaway stores, and that's how people are eating these days. They are not cooking at home, and for them, it's better if you're going to a supermarket to pick up some chicken or something. It's better to pick up leafy vegetables or salad, so to
Huh.
say, rather than
Yeah.
picking up something processed. And it is even better if you pick up a bowl of fruits along with the salad.
Fruits.
I guess that's so. Kanika, if I ask you, paleo diet, people are following paleo diet. So which aspect of paleo diet? Of course, you said there are different kinds of paleo diet. Which kind of paleo diet is actually not good, and how, if someone is following that kind of paleo diet, can transform still being a paleo diet and come to more kind of Ayurvedic paleo diet? Which
Yeah.
which kind of food is not right paleo diet?
Okay. So yeah, one I would like to add one thing here. The
Yeah.
best thing I like about paleo diet is no grain, because grains are actually in our body there are systems. Uh, let, let us take an example, like if this is my stomach and this is the buttons for digestion of different things. Okay, so then this button is for digesting fruits, this button is for digesting vegetables, and all this button is for digesting grains. So the grain digestion is the hardest for the body.
Okay.
So and paleo diet completely remove grains. And
Right.
this is so amazing because in most of the traditional fasting, in Indian traditional fasting, grains are seriously not recommended. If you have grain, you should have one time meal. That is considered to be the lowest level of fasting. The best level of fasting is you have no grains at all. And I have studied Chinese traditional fasting, and there are some people called immortals of the mountains, and these people, they never eat grains. They never eat grains in Chinese fasting. Also, you don't eat grains in Japan. You have a special festival called I'm forgetting the name of the festival. It's Komushi something, and then you keep awake whole night, just like the night vigil in India that you do during Nav Durga. These
Yes.
festivals.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they keep awake whole night and they don't eat grains. So grains throughout multiple cultures, they have been not recommended, and I believe that there is a serious scientific reason behind grains. There is a book called Wheat Belly, which produces a lot of scientific evidence against wheat. Yes, and there is a similarity that the Chinese people also don't recommend wheat. In their fasting process, you must not have wheat. In fact, they have a saying that if you have wheat, there are some worms who go to heaven and they report that you have had wheat and they will, that's a sin. So you see, the best factor about paleo diet is that it removes grains. And then when your grains are removed, you see your body becomes like an electric car where there is low combustion. There's no combustion. Grains produce a lot of combustion. Lot of combustion produces a lot of aging, wear and tear. Fruits
Right.
produce minimum digestive effort. You don't have to put a lot of digestive effort to get energy from fruits. So they are the best meat, and that's where this is the finest part of paleo diet: fruits. are the finest part of paleo diet. Vegetables, okay, cooked vegetables are great. And nuts and all these things that you can get from the forest. The worst part of paleo diet is the meat, because there are two parts of this meat-based paleo diet. One is cooked meat, one is raw meat. Cooked meat is still okay. Okay, it's still okay. But some people, they eat raw meat, and raw meat is actually dangerous because you have lots of worms, or you might have a lot of pathogens inside the raw meat. For example, you have tapeworms, you have scaris, and so on and so forth. And when you ingest this raw meat, improperly cooked meat, you can get multiple disorders. This mad cow disease that was there a few decades back, it was, all these diseases, all these meat-based diseases, they transfer very easily when you are having improperly cooked meat. And when you're having raw meat, then I don't know what can be the consequences. So raw meat is something which is not great for normal human beings. So that is the worst part of paleo diet.
Okay. And I mean, I wonder why would someone, like, for, last week we were talking about keto diet, and, we could understand the reasoning that people wanted to lose weight, though it was not a healthy way of losing weight, but, that was the reason behind it. What would be the reason behind people following paleo diet and eating raw meat? I mean, what do they gain, or what's the reason behind it?
Actually, I also don't understand what's the reason, because it's to me right now it looks unreasonable to eat raw meat. But yes, people do different things for exploring, probably, and there are still people traditionally who eat raw meat. Tibetans, some of the Tibetan tribes, they eat raw meat, and which is fine with them, because when you are in a snow-covered mountain with no wood to burn, there's no system to cook. So what you can do is to just get the meat and eat it raw. And they do it. One of my relatives was posted in a place where, the Tibetans were rehabilitated in India. So, they were actually teaching those Tibetans to eat cooked meat, because they were so used to eating raw meat. They would just go eat raw meat, and they were healthy. They were healthy. Why? Because their body type, the kind of climate they were brought up in, that supported that meat eating. When you're in very cold climate, the meat doesn't get decayed. Okay, right. Yeah, the person who is in the cold climate has very good digestive power. The digestion is very good, and their overall system is very good, because the cold climate supports high rate of metabolism. When there is high rate of metabolism, body produces a lot of heat. Okay, and when you're in a warm place, when you're in a humid place, this heat can heat up your body. It can jeopardize. So what the body does in hot climate, it says, okay, let me not have a high rate of metabolism. Let me have a low rate of metabolism, because, I cannot support the temperature management with all this heat outside. But when you are in cold, then the body can have a high rate of metabolism, produce a lot of heat, and that heat will get absorbed in the environment. So these people have very good digestion. They can eat raw meat and still be healthy, live for whole life. So, see, there are so many perspectives. If these people, they're in top of Himalaya, they're eating raw meat, I don't have a problem. But if these people are there in Africa and eating raw meat, then probably that's not fair. And still, you find African tribes.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. There are tribes that do eat raw meat. I don't know. Again, I do not know the reason why they are doing this.
Yeah, because see, in these tribes, there are two kinds of people. One are the warriors, the hunter warriors, and the other kinds of people are like normal people. Okay, so the hunter warriors, when they kill a buffalo or anything like this, they eat the raw meat and they drink the blood also of that animal. Okay, and these people, you see, they're tall and fierce, and my God, they look so powerful.
Right.
And these people are running whole day. They're gathering meat and they're doing this, that, everything. They can use up that energy. They can use up that heavy saturated meat. They can burn all the ingredients inside and absorb it. So if you're a hunter-gatherer, again,
Right.
I will discount this diet for you that, okay.
Yeah.
But if you're sitting in office and, we are just talking like this, then it's not recommended.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, if we went on and had that diet even just for once, I guess we're gonna fall sick for weeks and won't be able to get up because that's something that our body. It's how interesting it is. We all being human, but all of our body becomes so different, and something, especially with the African, there was a research, I guess, and that was done why African people are so good athletes,
Athletes, yeah.
how strong they are, and especially it was for marathon runs. So many marathon winners are African descent or African, and it's amazing how how strong I guess over thousands of years, their body has, their genes have changed, and that is how they're now the naturally the genes are, and it's so interesting, and that's why their diet is so different, I suppose. Okay, great. Just one last question, Kanika, about paleo diet. Your recommendation on people who are following paleo diet to become Ayurvedic paleo diet, what would that be?
Please eat more fruits. Go for fruits. See, again, I would say that listen to your body. This is the final advice. It works for everyone. There are, according to Ayurveda, 3 types of bodies. There are body types and there are mind types. So the food should always satisfy the mind. You see, the food that makes your mind happy. I'm not saying that you should go have pizza, burger, and all these things if they make you happy. Intelligent discretion is very important. And you see, there was one person who I would recommend. First thing I would recommend is go for vegetarian paleo diet. Eat fruits. 80% of fruits you will never age. You eat fruits, you will have no problems, no health problem. I cannot think of a health problem for a person who eats fruits. Okay, so eat fruits, eat nuts, eat berries, and eat dry fruits. Eat roots. Roots are very good. I will not classify. There is a different classification for vegetables. Root vegetables are considered very healthy, like carrots, radishes, and all these things that come.
And what about if someone is kind of more of hard worker or doing field work and following paleo diet? Do you think that being on fruit will be enough for them to do their daily life? Or if not, then what can be best as per Ayurveda?
If you feel that fruits can help you, they will help you, because I've seen a breatharian person move with 6-pack muscles.
Oh.
Yeah, and I am so surprised that, the mind can make so much of change. So I would say that if you believe that fruits can give you energy, go for fruits. Okay, but that's not possible. And if someone were to ask me to be on fruits and do field work, I would be horrified. The fear is a triggering factor. So I would say go for cooked vegetables, go for, some kind of fat, like you cannot have this thing. Include some kind of fat. For example, you can have meat. If you feel that meat helps you, go for meat. However, I would still recommend vegan diet because vegan is the healthiest. And doing field work, see, you need energy. You don't need a lot of food. What we have an idea, we have a strange idea that more food I eat, more energy I'll get. But the Ayurvedic concept is that you get energy from what you absorb. Okay, so if I eat a banana when I'm just doing and sitting here, I absorb hardly 1% of that banana. I hardly absorb anything. Okay, but if I am able to absorb some 10% of that banana, my God, I can run like crazy for the whole day. So yes, I would say if you believe in fruits, go for fruits. If you believe in vegetables, go for vegetables. Vegetables have lots of things, lots of proteins, vitamins, nutrients, and everything. If you feel that this is not enough, feel free to go for cooked meat. Cooked meat, go for eggs. You can go for eggs, meat, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I guess also it is also a matter of fact that everyone has different energy requirement. And when I say people going on the field, it might be, again, it could be very intensive field work, or it could be mildly field work, or it could be, just a little bit field work. So again, the energy requirement will be different. So it's so nice to know that Ayurveda is always open for everyone, for every kind of work they do, for every kind of food they want to eat and they should eat. And there is a reason behind why there is no is kind of one short solution for everyone, which is so amazing. And I guess in last 3 to 4 episodes, that's what we have. I guess that's the best taking from all the episodes is like Ayurveda is so vast and it is so different for different people and different kind of body requirements that you can fulfill using Ayurveda and stay satisfied in your life. So that's amazing. I guess that was all for today. Again, a very knowledgeable, informative podcast for me, and I hope it will be for our viewers as well. For the next podcast, I guess we will be discussing about natural farming. Which should be really interesting. I guess we did talk about farming in this podcast as well, but the next one should be more elaborate and obviously there will be new knowledge and wisdom, which is always there in, I guess, every podcast. At least I get to learn with every next podcast a lot. So thank you, Kanika, for being in this episode, and I'll be waiting for you in the next one. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Tej.